Hey everybody, it's Dove Hammer here, and I'm back at you with another harmonica tutorial. Since I've promised many times that I will answer any requests that people make in the comments on these video clips, it was Tony who asked for some help on bending. So I'm going to take Tony up on that challenge, even though I was kind of hoping that I could avoid this subject because it's the hardest one to teach, the hardest one to learn. But here we go. I'm going to address the challenge. Thanks, Tony, for asking for this. As I say, bending is probably the hardest thing to learn on a diatonic harmonica. And unfortunately, it's really necessary. You generally end up having to learn to bend pretty early on in the process because without bending, the diatonic harmonica is very limited. Once you master bending, it becomes really unlimited. So for starters, let's talk about what is bending. Okay, bending means that I can take the pitch of a note on the harmonica and lower it. There are two main kinds of bends, and there are draw bends and there are blow bends. The draw bends are the most basic ones, and we're going to start with those. Blow bends is another subject. I'll tackle those another time. What's the difference between draw bends and blow bends? Well, here's the thing. You can lower, in each note of the harmonica, in each hole, there are two reeds, two notes, one blow and one draw, right? What I can do in the bend is I can take the higher of those two notes and I can lower it. Okay, I can lower the higher of the two notes. Now, as you know, holes 1 through 6, the blow note is lower and the draw note in the same hole is higher. When you get to hole 7, that reverses itself. The draw note is lower and the blow note is higher. So from holes 7 through 10, you can't draw bend, but you can blow bend. That means because the blow note is the higher of the two, I can bend the blow note down. Now I'm blowing. Okay, so what I can do here really is there's two notes there, there's a distance between them, and by lowering the higher one, I can get the notes that are between them. So where do I have bends? Which bends are available to me? Right now, as I say, we're going to leave holes 7 through 10 alone. Right now, we're going to focus on the draw bends, which are on holes 1 through 6. On hole 1 and 4, I have one bend. Holes 1 and 4 are identical, right? There's an octave between them. It's C on the blow, D on the draw. That's 1. That's 4. So I have one note in between them. That's the D flat. Okay, here's C, here's D, and here's D flat. When I lower D, I can get D flat. Same thing on 4. Okay, so 1 and 4, I have one bend available to me. On hole 2, I have two bends available for me. The blow is E, the draw is G, so I have F and F sharp in between. So I have E blow, G draw, and I can bend down to F sharp and F. Okay, I forgot to mention I'm demonstrating on a C harmonica, so but it's the same for other harmonicas, just different notes, but it's the same per hole. Okay, so we said we have 1 on 1 and 4. We have two bends on hole number 2. On hole number 3, I have 3. The blow is G, the draw is B, so I have G sharp, I have A, I have B flat. Okay. Okay, so I have 3 bends available on hole number 3. Hole number 4, we said I have 1. Hole number 5 has no bend. Why? Because there's a half step. The blow is E, the draw is F, no bend there. I can lower it a little bit. I can kind of stretch it a little bit. That's more of an effect. There's not an actual note there to be had. Hole number 6, I also have one jaw bend because the blow is G, the jaw is A, so A flat is what I can get with the jaw bend. Okay, so those are the jaw bends available to me. How do I do it? Before I start to bend, I should have said this earlier. Do not start trying to learn to bend before you can get clean single notes. You really need to be able to get good, clean single notes. You should also learn, which I'm hoping you already have if you reach the stage of trying to learn to bend. Make sure you're breathing from deep down from your diaphragm. Your breathing has to be easy and slow, not labored and difficult. Otherwise, it's not going to sound good. So if I'm breathing nice and easy from my diaphragm, it'll sound much better. The third thing is you need to keep your embouchure nice and big. That means my jaw is dropped as much as I can while I'm playing. Whether I am puckering or tongue blocking doesn't matter. I want my mouth to be as big as it can and to have a nice big cavity there inside where the sound is resonating. Okay. As I said, it's very, very hard to describe and it's impossible to show what I'm doing when I bend. But here's what you're looking for. You're looking for to make the air opening where the air flows back here at the back of your throat. I want to constrict that. Okay, that's what will cause the bend. As far as I understand the physics of it, a bend happens when the direction of the airflow changes. It moves down a little bit. That activates both reeds in the hole to different degrees, and that'll cause a sound, which is the average between them. So I'm trying to change the airflow by constricting my throat back here. How does that happen? Well, it happens mostly by moving the back of my tongue muscle. When I was first teaching myself to play harmonica, because I didn't have someone to teach me, I figured that I get it done when I pull my tongue back. So I thought it was because I was pulling the tip of my tongue back. What it really was the fact that if you pull the front tip of your tongue back, it bunches up the back of your tongue, and that constricts the air over here. So that's what I usually do. If you're puckering, just pull the tongue back. It'll constrict the air back here, sort of like the sound you make when you're slurping hard through a straw. That happens when you tongue bunches back here, and the air cavity is air passage is narrowed back there. Okay. Same thing if I'm tongue blocking. I do the same thing. I keep my tongue on the harmonica, but I just bunch up the muscles back here. I'm just there are different ways people describe making these sounds. Like I said, you can imagine how it feels when you try to pull hard on a straw and your tongue moves back there. Some people teach it by saying different vowels. Like if I say E and then I go from E to U, E-U, what happens? Notice what happens with your tongue when you go E-U. You go E-U, E-U. You pull your tongue back. That back part of your tongue constricting is what's going to do it. One thing I should warn you not to do in any case is blow hard. Bends are made by a movement of the tongue muscles back here. They are not made by a strong airflow. You can bend very softly too. You need a steady airflow, but it does not need to be hard. So do not make the mistake of trying to get that bend by blowing harder. If you need to blow harder to get it, it's probably because you have a lousy, leaky harp. But bending does not need hard blowing, just like anything else in a harmonica. You do not need to blow hard to get a good sound out of a harmonica. What you do need is a nice steady airflow that comes from down here, and you'll find when you start experimenting with it that there's a little sweet spot there that if you let the air go, it sort of all of a sudden blanks out. It stops. You stop hearing the note. Okay, so you need to keep a minimal sort of steady airflow going to keep the sound ringing while it goes down. It's not very hard, but it needs to be steady. So as I say, it's hard to explain the motion, but so you're going to have to do a lot of trial and error, experiment, and find that motion that allows you to constrict your airflow up here, and that brings the pitch down. So like anything else with the harmonica, your ears have to be listening very critically, making sure that you're actually lowering the pitch, that you hear the pitch going down. Step one, find that motion that allows the pitch to go down. For some people, it's easier to start on hole 4. Some people find it easier on hole 2. But first, just find that motion and play with it. But we want to get beyond just the wah-wahing, just beyond the wah-wah-wah-wah-wah. We want to get to the point where we can hit actual legitimate notes here like this. How am I going to do that? I've got 2 exercises that will help you do that. The first one is to go, say, to hole 2 or 3, one of those 2 holes that has multiple bends on it. Bend down slowly. This must be done slowly without stopping, gradually through the different bends. I'm going to do it on hole 3 here. What I did was I went gradually through without stopping, taking the note slowly, lower and lower and lower till I got as far as I could, then not releasing it at once, but going back up slowly. That'll increase your control. It'll increase your awareness of that sweet spot of the amount of air that you need to keep it going, and it'll help you control it. Okay, that's one exercise. Once you've done that, and once you're feeling like you can get it all the way down nice and smoothly, start trying to stop at intervals. Try to get the notes. Here on hole number 2, I have 2 different bends. Here I didn't do gradually. I went from one to the other. But try to hit them and see if you can get the actual notes. You can use a guitar tuner, or you can use one of the apps they have now for bends. There's something called a Bendometer. There's a few others. I'm old school. I've never used them, but I've seen some of them, and some of them are very good, where they'll give you a visual representation of whether you've actually hit the note, if you're close to it, if you're above it, below it. If you're on hole number 4, for example, you're trying to go from D to D flat. If you're on 2, you want to go a full step from G down to F. A lot of people at the beginning don't get that whole step. They only get half of it. But you want to do all the way down to the F. So you can do it with one of these apps, or with a tuner, or with a piano. Play F on a piano and see if you're hitting this note. And then try to hold it for a couple seconds, because your reeds, they're springs. They're trying to go back up. And when you're doing that bending motion with your tongue, you're trying to hold them down so that you can feel a little tension there where the reed is trying to pop up and you're trying to hold it down. The challenge is to keep it steady so that your note stays the same and doesn't start creeping back up like this. So once you can do that at the different notes, then you've really got control of the bending. But practicing these things will help increase your control of it. So what you want to do in the end, you want to be able to bend notes and have them sound like legitimate notes. When someone who's not a harmonica player, just a listener is listening to you play, they don't care if you're bending or not. They want to hear nice notes in music. So if I can play a note, I don't want somebody being able to guess that's a bent note. That's not. I want them all to sound good. I want the bent note to sound as good as an unbent note. Okay? So that's the challenge. Keep the breathing nice and relaxed, but constant, and just learn the motion with your tongue. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you learned something from it. If you enjoyed this, I would be very pleased if you push the like button. I'd be even more pleased if you subscribe to the channel. I have lots of good stuff on this channel, including live clips from my shows, my original songs, and a lot of harmonica tutorials. So subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about this or about anything else to do with diatonic harmonica, please feel free to put it in the comment section. I promise to answer every comment you put down there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.